Hi YouTubers, this is another video from your friendly neighborhood reviewer Evelyn. Today we're going to be reviewing episode 9 of Taxi Driver season 2. This episode is particularly special because we have a surprise cameo crossover. First time ever seeing in these Korean dramas that we have another character from another show pop into another TV show. The big thing is both characters or both shows are under CBS, so it's not a big stretch but a really ingenious way. So I won't get to the spoilers yet. So episode 9, we get the continuation of the revealment of the big bad, the new employee, Mr. On, I think it's On his name. I knew from the start he was the big bad because he came up as being innocent, but whilst we found out that he's kind of like the second boss of this bigger boss, let's say, because we find out that in this crime syndicate operation they have a lot of policemen and higher ups in Korea in their pockets, so a lot of corrupt policemen. And we have the mystery beginning of episode 9. How did Kim Dong-gi manage to get this file with the photos of the police report of what happened in Thailand? I think it was Thailand, yeah, Thailand or Vietnam, can't remember where it was. And we get a cameo back from the prosecutor from season 1. I think it's the same guy that left off being chief prosecutor to go back and be as a proper lawyer, let's say, or to help people that are in dire circumstances. But of course, the former head prosecutor is friends with Mr. Jang, and they have that conversation, and he's telling his friend, I know you like helping people, but you need to be safe to do it. And we see more the psychology behind Mr. Jang, that he finds fulfillment in helping people, that helps him to carry on living. So I think season 2 will be closure for Kim Dong-gi and Mr. Jang to really find that closure, because we haven't had the follow-up after when Kim Dong-gi had that PTS attack of hearing the whistle. So I do want to see a conclusion of that, or not conclusion, like a roundup of that, to see him finding closure finally. So episode 9 is about a malpractice suit that goes on. As Kim Dong-gi is driving a nurse to a hospital, he sees a man protesting outside in a tent, saying that the director of the hospital, this female director, went and murdered his daughter, injured his daughter. It was a bit unclear at first, because through flashbacks we found out that this dad, a handyman, his daughter was a runner, but she had some issues with her hip bone and other parts, so she went in for, I guess, a routine surgery. She comes out, but she doesn't wake up from the anesthetic, so the father is left feeling, okay, well, what's the answers? He tries to take it to court, but the hospital conveniently didn't have the records inside the OR, or even police things that didn't have the video records, that didn't have much to go on apart from this supposed, great female doctor helping the entire community, the director. So he comes to the last moment of strife, and he sees the sticker from the Rainbow Group, don't die, get revenge, we'll do it for you. So he calls them, and Kim Dong-gi picks up the guy. He recognizes him, and then he hears the story where the father explains the situation, and he tried to get evidence inside the OR, but they were waiting for him, and they charged him with assault. They had the video evidence, so they kind of framed the dad to make it look like he's an aggressive person. So as the team is trying to figure out, is there, since the malpractice suit is really technical and there's no clear answers who's the victim and who's the perpetrator, or is it down to an innocent, a mistake? Mistakes happen, surgeons are humans. So they're thinking, did the dad, the handyman, did he kind of lie? So the whole team is speculating how to believe this guy, because of course the dad, after his daughter's in a coma, he's left completely out of his mind. He's there drinking, he's trying to get people to listen, he's coming off as aggressive. Understandable in the circumstances, he has no idea what to do. So the team they're all debating, they're all talking about it, and they all kind of decide not to take the case, but they ask Kim Dong-gi his opinion. He tells them, give me a moment. So surprise cameo comes about. When he goes up to get a cup of coffee, he puts in $1 or $1 or £1. He hears somebody saying, I haven't got change. Have you got, change for $1? And then we get Mr. Chon for $1 lawyer. Oh my god. Now Gun Ming. Oh my god. Now the drama behind $1 lawyer it started off really great. It wasn't I reviewed episode 1 to 2. There was a reason I didn't continue because it got a little bit funky with the ending. There was some kind of dispute about the production company that CBS was using to produce the show, that there was some internal conflicts with the script writing, and then it came that thing that I think it was originally 16 episodes under a lawyer, but they went and cut it to episode 12 on the thing of better story writing. But the ending gave no conclusions, no follow-ups, no nothing. It was no closure whatsoever, and I didn't like the ending. It was too rushed. The ending that Mr. John became the special prosecutor of taking down the big corrupt people there, and I feel like there was a missed opportunity with the female co-star that we saw her from the veil of je-hoon. Well, apologies if I don't remember her name. So we have that interaction between Kim Dong-gi and Mr. Chon, in which for a series of him, Mr. Chon and his eccentric personality, Kim Dong-gi gives a cup of coffee he had on that small thing to Mr. Chon, and he says, "Oh, thank you, this cup of coffee," and he starts sprouting off stuff, and then Mr. Chon conveniently looks at the file that Kim Dong-gi has of the malpractice lawsuit, and he says, "Okay, let me have a look at it." Kim Dong-gi's like, "What?" Like some random guy. And he says, "Oh, let me introduce myself. Here's my card," in which Kim Dong-gi says, "Okay, he's a lawyer." Mr. Chon says, "For appreciation for you giving me a cup of coffee, I'll give you some advice." So he starts reading through it, and then he starts saying, "Oh, okay, this is pretty hard. The defendant may have had this." And the defendant in this case was the hospital. And of course, the person prosecuting on the behalf of the handyman dad didn't have much. So it was a bit complicated to really explain, but the gist of it, Mr. Chon tells Kim Dong-gi, "Look, this guy is a handyman. He may come across as rough and aggressive and a hoarse voice. Since he works in construction, he has to shout for his job. And of course, the tools that people thought they had as weapons is his handyman tools. So don't look down on him, just have a look at that he needed support, he was alone by himself." And conveniently in this part, Kim Dong-gi says, "Okay," and then Mr. Chon says, "I feel like I'm the only one talking here, and you're so pensive." And Kim Dong-gi says, "Well, I'm just listening to your good advice." And Mr. Chon likes that, and he tells Kim Dong-gi, "You must hear a lot of people with their hardships in your taxi, as a taxi driver." And Kim Dong-gi says yes. Then he says, "Would you mind advertising my services to them so I can help them?" And then Kim Dong-gi looks at the fee at the other side of the card, and he looks at it and says $1 or 1 chon. Mr. Chon says, "Yeah, because I can be generous since I'm wealthy," because we know from $1 lawyer, Mr. Chon is wealthy per se. And Mr. Chon makes a joke, "And even now I'm giving you half my fee of, let's say, 50 cents, 50p in the UK here." And we get that of Mr. Chon walking off. So there could be no segue that Mr. Chon comes into Taxi Driver 2 if Korea does this. This could give Taxi Driver Season 3 or change to something else different. The ultimate crossover here. Hopefully they do something interesting with this. The trouble sometimes with these Korean dramas, if the writing is really good, it hits right on the head, but sometimes there's a lot of plot holes in the show that sometimes doesn't get addressed, and you have to suspend sometimes a lot of belief. Okay, so the gist from episode 9 to 10, we found out that the female director, in some strange kind of way, is she trains a medical salesperson as a surgeon to do the surgeries for her, which is so bizarre because the way Kim Dong-gi finds out, he has to pretend to get into an accident, switch names of another patient that's about to have surgery, and on the off chance, he had those glasses with the camera to film who is the real person that's going to do the surgery. There was a close call that the salesperson / surgeon did a little cut onto his stomach, but Geon-shi, the female tech, she manages to manipulate the alarm system, because beforehand in the episode, Kim Dong-gi tries to get in as undercover as a doctor, but they had the motion sensor if a camera were to come in, so there was a kind of heart racing scene where he was hiding in the cabinet, in the metal cabinet where they keep the coats. So the only way that the team have managed to think of a way for them to film what happens in the surgery room or the OR, the operation room, was Kim Dong-gi to go in as a different patient. So when I found out about that, I was like, whoa, this is the most absurd plot I've heard today. A surgeon training some medical salesman to do the surgeries for her so she can get all that money. She could do like a ton of surgeries. But we also find out that the female director of the hospital is an alcoholic. So episode 10, they close off with that. I will reveal in episode 10 the most shocking fact that the whole team is going back with a mission successful, but the big bad guy here, Mr. On, that's pretending, working with them undercover, had put a bomb on the Kim Dog-gi's taxi, and then we see flying off. And then we get the cliffhanger there. And my theory is that, of course, Kim Dog-gi is not gonna die. It's shocking as hell, like, whoa, but hey, he's not gonna die. Okay, so this is the end of the video. To all the Nam Gun-ming fans, let me know if you're excited to see him, and what's your expectations of the reason why they put this cameo here. Anyway, so this is the end. If you made it to the end, a big thank you, and as I leave you always, stay safe.